Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened around Ukraine in the last 24 hours. What is happening at the northern border of Ukraine, Part 2. Captured Russian soldiers. European gas tap captured. Big nuclear wish. First ever helicopter down by FPV. Okay, what do we know about what is happening near the northeastern border of Ukraine? All public information is collected from public sources. I emphasize that this is what Russians write on their online resources and in online chats. The Ukrainian side, our government and the army command do not give any comments on what is happening in the Kursk region of Russia. Finally, we hear the silence during the big events. I'm almost more happy about this than the incoming information. As a person working with the press and media, I understand how important it is to be the first to tell breaking news in order to get all the hype, but no hype is worth human lives. So excuse me, I will give information drop by drop when it's safe to say. As of today, we know from mostly Russian sources with confirmation from rare Ukrainian sources that, first, large amounts of unnamed troops are advancing deep into Kursk region of Russia and have already occupied approximately 350 square kilometers of territory at a depth of approximately 35 kilometers from the border as of midday on August 8, year 2024. The pace of this advance in just a few days is much higher than how the Russians advanced in the Kharkiv region of Ukraine during their offensive, which, as we see, fizzled out without achieving anything in a month and a half. Huge losses counted by thousands of Russian soldiers, destroyed frontline Ukrainian villages and dead civilians. This can hardly be called a success. In simple terms, in less than a day, the Ukrainian armed forces broke through two lines of Russian defenses that Putin had been building for 2.5 years and spent about $150 million on, and there were no fortifications behind them. Second, right now the Russian command still has a very weak idea of the real situation and the characteristics of advancing troops. I mean not only weak intelligence, but also a generally weak idea of who is fighting against them. Moreover, according to Russian war correspondents, I quote, "No one knows the real line of combat engagement due to the lack of communication, and the enemy, that is us, is not getting bogged down in positional battles but is actively maneuvering and bringing up reserves." Rumors about the French and Polish legions are standard Russian propaganda gossip. In reality, they do not understand what kind of weapons and troops the conscripts and border guards are up against. The much-hyped Kadyrov's Akhmat bravely fought some trees and bushes and didn't show up for a real fight, which was predictable. I don't understand who really take them seriously. Third, Russia has no reserves in this direction. They are trying to move their scarce reserves from the rear from the other directions, but so far it's only known that a column of trucks with infantry was destroyed by the Ukrainian armed forces before reaching the breakthrough area in the Kursk region. Now watch this video. Here you can see how Russian conscripts and border guards surrender. Also note that Ukrainian soldiers treat them normally. They do not shoot or beat anyone. We understand that the Russians will scream to the whole world if they see any pressure on prisoners, despite how they execute Ukrainian soldiers, torture and dismember bodies. It breaks the heart, but we clearly understand that there is a huge red line between us here. We are completely different and we are doing everything to show the world that we are trying to play by the rules in order to have the support of the civilized countries. This is a very important point. In this photo, more than 40 Russian soldiers surrendered to 4 Ukrainian fighters. I will not humiliate their dignity. It's not shameful to lay down your arms when you understand that your country is a criminal, your generals give criminal orders, and your pilots bomb residential buildings at night. What should they die for, so that Putin's minion Gerasimov can hang another star on his jacket? Now, these dozens of people saved their lives and have a chance for the future. Those who enter Ukraine with weapons in their hands, they don't have it. I would really like the mothers of conscripts who were mobilized up against their will to gather to start pressuring Putin and to exchange their sons for captured Ukrainians, in particular for the defenders of Mariupol, whom Russia deceived by living in captivity for 2 years of torment instead of the promised 3 months in normal conditions. In the photo you see what is called the Sudzha gas measuring station, named after the town of Sudzha in which it is located. This place, according to rumors, had been under the control of Ukrainian armed forces for the second day. For those who do not know what this is, This station provides all the Russian gas transit to Eastern Europe through Ukrainian territory. Roughly speaking, a tap through which the gas is sold to Europe. I think it's not necessary to explain how valuable and important this object is. And this is the Kursk nuclear power plant, which is located just 60 kilometers from the place where, as they say, the fighting is happening. This doesn't mean that it's in danger of being shelled. It's unlikely that anyone sane would shoot at a nuclear power plant, for example, like Russians do at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in the occupied territory of Ukraine. Wouldn't it be unreasonable? So, this station supplies electricity to the entire Kursk region and also to neighboring regions of Russia. Let's assume that it can be turned off. If Russia can turn off the lights throughout Ukraine, then why not play this game both ways? The whole world doesn't care. No one is doing anything to force Putin to withdraw troops and explosives from the territory of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, by the way, the largest in Europe. Wouldn't it be funny if the Ukrainian armed forces captured the Kursk nuclear power plant? Yeah, it's not equivalent. Ours is more powerful, but when you are given cards, you play. On this map, I drew a line from the town of Sudzha, where this large gas tap to Europe is located, to the Kursk nuclear power plant. As you can see in a straight line, it's an hour-long drive on the highway. A little longer when bullets fly. But if we assume that we have already passed 2 Russian lines of defense and have penetrated about 30 to 35 kilometers deep, anything can happen. You know, President Zelensky recently announced that what we called Zelensky Gigawatt. He said that by the end of the year, our country will receive another gigawatt of electricity in order to cover the deficit and so that we can live through the winter normally. And he didn't say where he would get this gigawatt. You can't just build a nuclear power plant in 6 months, no matter how much money you have. How funny it would be if he meant the Kursk nuclear power plant, and why not? In this video, ladies and gentlemen, you see the first time in human history when a cheap FPV drone downs a very expensive Russian military helicopter. I talked about this a while ago and now we have the video. By the way, someone will be punished for publishing this video early without permission. But since it's already everywhere, I will show it here. This war has really shown us all that how much the world has changed with the new technologies. It's now probably more profitable to build 20,000 cheap drones in one garage than one military helicopter. That's all for today. I won't speculate or reveal details that are too early to be made public. They will appear in the future. I will say that now we have received a little boost in morale due to the fact that our troops have gone on the offensive and are showing the Russians that their myth about the invincible army and inviolable territory is just a fairy tale. By the way, for international partners, this is also kind of cold shower. Look, the Ukrainians have entered Russian territory, captured entire settlements and a large nuclear substation, and Putin did totally nothing. He can't even admit it. What about the invincible Russian army? If you haven't figured it out yet, they bleed just like everyone else. Only at the same time they have low moral, low discipline, an overly high ego, and an overdose of propaganda. When this war is over, they will be very offended to admit that they had that greatness only in their imagination. Ukraine will win like we are winning now at the Olympics, no matter what. Our athletes are training during the war and win on their front. It's very difficult for all of us, but it strengthens our spirit. We do not need any Russian lands, and I hope that we will give them back and return my native Ukrainian Donbass. Thank you to everyone who supports us in this war for survival, and take care, and I hope to see you tomorrow.